Asking people to vote for you for senator and for the other candidates for president and vice president, you're not only asking the Americans to vote for a different man, but for a different system. Why would America want to change its system at this time, in your view?
Well, the reason why they want to change the system would not be exactly the same reason as voting for us. The primary reason that people are going to vote for the Socialist Workers Party is the simple reason that we're the only party that's opposed to the war in Vietnam. To that extent, we reflect the views of millions of people. We won't get millions of votes because we don't have the financial resources to run that kind of campaign. But we afford an opportunity for people to vote for a solution to the war and to register their protest to the war policies of the three major candidates, Nixon and Humphrey and Wallace, all of whom are in favor of this war to one degree or another. Secondly, we do afford an opportunity for black Americans to vote against the parties of racism. The Republicans and Democrats, and Wallace, of course, also, are the parties of law and order for black people. They're the political formations and organizations that send police into the black ghetto to commit all kinds of acts of violence against black America. They're one of the reasons why black America is mobilizing itself for political action. So that's why people can vote for us, even if they don't agree with our full program of socialism. Certainly no one agrees with the full program of Nixon and Humphrey when they vote for them. They vote for them for other reasons. With regard to the social system, we believe that the present social system in America breeds war and racism. That while it's true that there is prosperity for millions of Americans, that's undeniable, there's at the same time poverty for 30 million Americans, and the prosperity itself is being paid for by the continued necessity of America and of this government to play the role of world cop against colonial revolutions like the Vietnamese. The person who's sitting in America today and making a pretty good wage may be angry about the war but not particularly dissatisfied about the system of free enterprise, has to keep in mind that one of the ways that system functions is through the sending of 500,000 of their brothers or husbands or sons and so on to Vietnam to fight this kind of a dirty colonial war. We're very confident that if we had equal time with the spokesman for the major parties, that we could convince the vast majority of Americans that the war is 100% wrong and that immediate withdrawal of troops is the only answer to the situation.
Now, the war is one issue. The war has not been going on forever. However, the Socialist Party has run for president and has put up candidates before. You mentioned that the worker is satisfied with a free enterprise system, in your view. Why aren't you satisfied with a free enterprise system?
Well, for one thing, the war hasn't been going on forever. That's true. It has been going on, however, since 1941. It's a pretty long time, and it's longer, for instance, than the lifespan of most of the people who are watching this television newscast right now. This war has been going on longer than most of you have been alive. See, but on the other hand, the system itself functions. The system affords a standard of living to people, a certain standard of living based upon the tremendous poverty that exists in other countries. You know, the United States is accumulating wealth from all over the world into this country, based on the what we call the super exploitation of colonial peoples and so on. And moreover, it's not true that Americans in general are satisfied. That's a mythology which is cut through, for instance, by the revolt on the university campus. University students, by and large, are not satisfied, and there are 4 or 5 million university students in this country. Black America, which is 22 million people, in addition to other minority groups, is not generally satisfied. There's a deep streak of dissatisfaction, which is not cut down by the fact that lots of black people make good wages. Black workers who make $3 or $4 an hour are oftentimes the most militant and angry with regard to racial oppression and discrimination. And moreover, there's a deep-seated feeling of distrust and anxiety among the average person who works for a living, white or black. That is to say, the Wallace campaign, for example, is one indication of that. Wallace is garnering millions and millions of votes of people who are voting for him in spite of the fact that he's the most anti-labor of all the candidates, with an open record of union busting and so on, with a record of high sales tax and opposition to the union movement. Many union workers are voting for him because they don't see any other realistic way to cast a protest vote against the things they don't like in the system. So we would have to reject that idea that everybody's satisfied that America is a country which the vast majority, that it's only a small handful of the lunatic fringe that are dissatisfied. It goes much deeper than that.